Hi there, I'm Mike. What I have for you today is Star Wars The Black Series Padme Amidala. I said that weird. Amidala. Why did I say it like that? Hi there, I'm Mike. What I have for you today is Star Wars The Black Series Padme Amidala. Let's go ahead and jump into the review by looking at this picture of her while I read the bio on the back of the box. Padme Amidala was a courageous, hopeful leader, serving as queen and then senator of Naboo, and was also handy with a blaster. Despite her ideals and all she did for the cause of peace, her secret forbidden marriage to Jedi Anakin Skywalker would prove to have dire consequences for the entire galaxy. Here we have Padme out of the box, and boy, do I love her. I guess spoiler alert, you can just end the review now. I love her. Padme here first appeared in The Phantom Menace in 1999. She's played by my high school celebrity crush, Natalie Portman. This figure, however, is from her episode 2 Attack of the Clones appearance, where she wore this for basically half the movie. As soon as Anakin had a dream and wanted to go check on his mommy, she put this on and they jetted off across the galaxy, spurring the adventures of the rest of the movie. Her white outfit here is actually one of my faves. I think partially because it resembles Princess Leia's Hoth outfit, which is one of my favorite looks in all of Star Wars, but I also like it because it's kind of plain and practical. It's not flashy, it's suited for combat as well as just casual wear. But her face is actually the real star here. Just chalk this up to another one of Hasbro's growing list of perfect sculpts with very, very good digitally painted faces. Her face has like a jaw-set, determined look on it, which I just really enjoy. It really is reminiscent of her character in the movie, and her eyes shine in a lifelike way that only digital printing can really pull off. Her hair is intricately sculpted and beautifully painted, and her mole is well placed and painted on her face. I don't know why I ended on that one. I should have put that one sooner. Now, I know a lot of people probably would have preferred a Padme from a different episode 2 outfit. Maybe this one, or maybe this same outfit, but from the arena battle where she's basically wearing the same thing, but less. But I think this is actually a really good first outfit to have her in. And if they wanted to kind of do both, you'd have to have a whole different torso, which, you know, is basically like having a whole different figure. So maybe here's to the future, we'll get an arena version of this, but for now, I'm happy with this, and I'm gonna give the looks a full point. So let's talk about her accessories. What does she come with? What should she come with? Now, I just said she could have come with a different torso to have the missing kind of midsection, but I'm not really counting that because I honestly don't really care that much. I'm fine with this figure as it is in terms of that. But what does she come with? First, she comes with her tiny little blaster. This blaster is a Q2 holdout blaster, and it's, you know, it's fine. It's the blaster she had in episode 2. Despite being small, it's actually intricately sculpted and painted. It has a lot of great lines in it. The handle is kind of a dark, kind of a brown color, and then it's got a silver paint over the barrel and the body and the trigger of the weapon, and it fits well in her hand as well as in the holster on her hip. Now, the holster is also an accessory, but it doesn't really come off, but it's also not a sculpted part of her, you know, body. So I'm gonna count it as an accessory, and I'm sure if you could pop her waist joint apart, the belt would come off if you wanted to pull off that look. The belt doesn't have any paint apps as far as I can tell, but it's a soft rubber. It's molded well around her hips and waist, and it does have a lot of detail kind of molded into that rubber. So I definitely enjoy it, and it's a great accessory. Her second weapon is the E5 Trade Federation Battle Droid Blaster that she kind of picks up on the battlefield here. The blaster itself is molded in a black plastic with a lot of great detail, and then a silver dry brush kind of put over the top to give it a worn metallic look. I definitely love this blaster. The problem with this blaster is that it's way too big to fit on the hands that she has on her body. So Hasbro has included a different hand. Now, this hand is the exact same as the hand she comes with, but it has a wider grip. Now, I've long said that Black Series figures should have more alternate hands included, and this is a great step in the right direction. And what's cool about this is I wasn't expecting it. You don't see it in the bubble when you buy her. It's hidden behind the picture. So when you pull the tray out, there's a surprise hand. It was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. So putting this hand on her wrist is very easy, and now she can hold her different weapon in there with ease without worrying about stretching out her smaller hand, so it still holds the smaller gun. Now lastly, she comes with this kind of cape cloak shawl thing. It's molded in kind of a harder rubber plastic, but it's molded with great detail. It's sort of an off-white color, which is the same color that, you know, it was in the movie, which is fantastic. At least I'm pretty sure it is. Again, color is not my strong suit. If I'm ever wrong about colors, you can tell me. I don't take offense to it, but you know that I can't really see colors that well. Anyways, there's been a long battle between fans of Star Wars The Black Series over whether things like this should be soft goods or hard molded plastic. I go back and forth. Some things are better as soft goods, some things are better as hard molded plastic. This is one of those things that I think they nailed. This is perfect as a hard molded plastic kind of cape. The sculpting and detail on it is fantastic. Had they done this in soft goods, they would have had to made it out of like a cottony kind of material instead of the material they usually would, because it would have to have that texture to be accurate. So I would rather have accuracy than just soft goods. On top of that, it hangs really well on her shoulders. That's something that at this scale is really hard for a soft goods cloak to do. So I think they made the right choice here, and I'm very happy they did. If you want to, it's very easy to take this off if you want to give her a more clean look, but I actually prefer it on, and that's how she's gonna stay on my shelf. So because of all that, and the fact that I really can't think of anything she should have come with but didn't, I'm gonna give her the full point for accessories. So let's talk about that articulation. Padme's head moves all the way around, moves forward this far, back not super far, has a side to side waggle. Her arm moves out that far. It moves all the way around. She has a single jointed elbow that moves much greater than 90 degrees. She also has an elbow swivel. She has a swivel at the wrist as well as a hinge. This wrist hinges this way. She has a torso swivel. It moves forward, not super far, back a lot further. Her leg moves not really forward at all, like garbage, and even less back. She has an upper thigh rotation, a double jointed knee, hinge at the ankle, as well as a rocker, with this being Padme's widest stance with both their feet flat on the ground. As you can see, Padme falls into line with the current 2019 kind of articulation standards. She has the new neck sculpt from 2018 where she has the ball joint up here and down at the neck. So she's got a lot of head waggle of movement. Her arms have a lot of freedom of movement. She has a greater than 90 degree bend at her elbow, which is fantastic. The real problem with this figure is that hip. This is the same problem I actually had with Vice Admiral Holdo. I have no idea who at Hasbro sculpted this and said, yeah, that's how hips work. It's not. This is not how hips work. This is garbage. I mean, it brings down the whole figure because you can't really move her legs even a little bit forward without having to turn them to the side. And that's just not how they should look. It's really hard to get her into some poses because of that lack of basic forward movement of the legs. I mean, it's such a hindrance that I'm gonna dock the score of the articulation a half point. But let's move on to something more positive. Let's look at the sculpt, paint, and detail, because this is another place where the figure shines. Now, at a cursory glance, this is another one of those figures that looks very plain. She's almost all one color, and there's just not a lot of detail going on there until you really get down into it. I've talked about how great her face is. I've talked about how great her cape is, but let's talk about her actual body. She has these silver armbands on there, which are painted and sculpted really, really well. Her suit has a lot of seam lines all over it. They're molded to accurately represent the actual outfit that Natalie Portman was wearing. Across her chest, across her arms, across her legs, she has seam lines molded where the material meets itself, which is fantastic. It just kind of pops with a lot of that detail. She also has a lot of molded kind of fabric ruffles, which I really love, especially around the elbow and the wrists, and then again at the knees and where the pants meet the boots. It's just a level of detail that they didn't have to do, but I'm glad they did because it gives it that lifelike detail that she should have, and she does have. She also has a pretty good booty. I feel obligated to point that out after I made a big deal out of Holdo's. And lastly, her boots are great. I mean, they're the same color as far as I can tell as her belt. They are molded and detailed, and I mean, they just look fantastic. They really complete the outfit. So I'm gonna give this the full point that it deserves. So let's talk in terms of want. Of course I wanted her. I'm a fan of the prequels. I mean, Attack of the Clones is probably my least favorite of all the Star Wars movies, but I still love it. Like, it's still Star Wars. So don't get me wrong, I'm not a hater. I definitely like this, and I love Natalie Portman, and I like Padme's character. So I definitely wanted this on my shelves, but now Hasbro has opened up that can of worms where we have an episode 2 figure, but we don't have an Anakin or Obi-Wan to go with it. So now, of course, I need an Anakin and Obi-Wan to go with this episode 2, Padme Amidala. Thanks, Hasbro. Thanks for creating holes in my collection where holes didn't really exist before. And like I discussed with Holdo, it's always nice to have another female figure on my, sausage fest of a shelf. There are just so many dudes on my shelf from the Star Wars movies. It's fine, but I just would like some more female representation because I like a good, strong female character, and I very much enjoy having her on my shelf. So in terms of availability, is she easy to get? Probably. She's part of the current wave. She's number 81 in the line. She's also double packed in a case. So unlike the Battle Droid, which is an army builder, she's not. I've seen her a couple times hanging out on the shelves since the first time that I bought her, which was like, what, 2 months ago? Man, I should do these a lot more often. I'm sorry. But if you can't find her in the wild, you can also buy her from your favorite online retailer if you want to go that route. But I get it if you don't. I understand that it's fun to kind of go out and find these in the wild. I have seen reports of these showing up at Walgreens and at GameStops. So if you're having trouble finding them at your normal kind of retailer, you can check those places if you want to find them in the wild. Just notice that GameStop, you'll have to pay that GameStop premium. But you know what? I'm gonna give her the full point because I wanted her and she shouldn't be that hard to find. So, final score. I'm gonna give her a 4.5 out of 5. She almost could have been a perfect figure, but those hips lie. The hips are really just dragging her down because how much articulation is missing. It's weird how important basic leg movement is to a figure posing, that it can kind of draw a figure down that much. Now, it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's still what could have been a perfect figure was definitely hindered by that one small fact. But if you're a fan of the prequels or, you like Natalie Portman and you want a tiny version of her on your shelf, I highly recommend this figure. And she's also one of those figures that, when she came out, a lot of people were poo-pooing her because she didn't look that great. But I will say, once you see her in person, it's really hard not to love her. So that's it for my Padme Amidala review. What did you think? Let me know down in the downstairs area. I love to read and respond to those comments. There's also a couple different ways down in the downstairs area that you can support my channel if you want to. Like, share, subscribe, the normal YouTube stuff that people say at the end of every YouTube video. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for getting this far. And I'll see you later. Bye.